People think about influential countries in Asia, nations like China, Japan, or South Korea often come to mind, yet one country with enormous global importance is frequently overlooked. That country is Indonesia. Officially, the Republic of Indonesia is the largest archipelago in the world, made up of more than 17,000 islands stretching across Southeast Asia. These islands extend thousands of kilometers between the Indian and Pacific Oceans, making Indonesia one of the most geographically unique countries on Earth. With a population of more than 285 million people, Indonesia is the fourth most populous country in the world. What makes Indonesia especially interesting is its diversity. Across its many islands live hundreds of ethnic groups, cultures, and traditions. More than 700 local languages are spoken throughout the country. However, Indonesians are united by a single national language, the Indonesian language, which helps connect this incredibly diverse nation. Indonesia has a young and productive population, with 68.2% of its people, about 194.9 million, in the working age group of 15 to 64. But to understand Indonesia's growing influence, we must look deeper into its basic national characteristics, political system, economic development, and current challenges. Indonesia is located in Southeast Asia and lies along major international shipping routes between Asia, Australia, and Middle East. Because of this strategic location, the country has historically played an important role in global trade. The capital city of Indonesia is Jakarta. Jakarta is the country's largest city and serves as its political, economic, and cultural center. Indonesia consists of several major islands including Sumatra, Kalimantan, Java, Sulawesi, and Papua. Among these islands, Java is the most densely populated and is home to more than half of Indonesia's population. Indonesia is also known for its religious diversity. While the majority of Indonesians practice Islam, the country officially recognizes multiple religions, including Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Confucianism. This religious diversity reflects the country's long history of cultural exchange and migration. Indonesia's national motto, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, means unity in diversity. This phrase reflects the government's effort to unite many different cultures and communities under one national identity. Because of its vast geography and cultural diversity, Indonesia is often considered one of the most complex and fascinating countries in Southeast Asia. Indonesia operates as a presidential democratic republic. In this system, the president serves as both head of state and head of government. The current president of Indonesia is Prabowo Subianto, who assumed office in 2024 after winning the national election. Indonesia's political system includes three main branches of the government: the executive branch, led by the president, the legislative branch, responsible for making laws, and the judicial branch, that interpret the law. One of the most important moments in Indonesia's political history occurred in 1998, when the country transitioned from an authoritarian government to a democratic system. Since then, Indonesia has held regular national elections and has strengthened its democratic institutions. In recent years, Indonesia has undergone a rapid economic transformation with the ambition of becoming a high-income country by 2045. Despite past challenges such as the 1997 financial crisis, Indonesia has maintained steady economic growth of around 5% per year, positioning itself as a strategic player between major powers like the United States and China. One of the key drivers of this growth is Indonesia's abundant natural resources. The country holds over 1/5 of the world's nickel reserves, making it the largest producer globally, and it is also the third largest producer of cobalt. These resources are critical for producing electric vehicle batteries, which has attracted massive investments from global companies such as CALT, Hyundai, and LG Energy Solution. To maximize its resources, the government introduced a downstreaming policy in 2014, banning the export of raw materials and requiring companies to process them in the country. This has significantly increased the value of Indonesia's exports and created more industrial jobs. At the same time, Indonesia is experiencing a digital revolution. Its digital economy has grown rapidly, with gross merchandise value increasing from $41 billion in 2019 to $77 billion in 2022, driven by e-commerce, digital payments, and a growing startup ecosystem. Infrastructure development has also played a key role. Under former President Joko Widodo, the government invested in 16 new airports, 18 ports, and more than 2,100 kilometers of toll roads to improve connectivity and support economic growth. In addition, Indonesia benefits from strong demographics. With a population of around 270 million people, about 52% are young, creating a large workforce and a strong domestic consumer market. Unlike many other countries, Indonesia's growth is largely driven by domestic consumption and services, rather than relying on raw exports, making its economy more stable. At the global level, Indonesia maintains a neutral or non-aligned strategy, allowing it to attract investment from both China and the United States. As a result of these factors, Indonesia has become a member of the G20, a group of the world's largest economy.
Log timber often has clean flat ends from chainsaw cuts rather than the jagged edges of natural breakage. When floods hit, timber like this can be swept downstream, becoming a devastating battering ram, destroying everything.
On March 10, Indonesia is facing serious environmental challenges. Empirically, it occurred on the island of Sumatra, particularly in the province of Aceh, where severe floods and landslides devastated communities after Cyclone Senya brought days of intense rainfall. The disaster affected millions of residents, destroying homes, infrastructure, and farmland, while forcing many families to evacuate their communities. In some areas, rivers were filled with huge amounts of logs and debris carried downstream by the floodwaters. This phenomenon has been described as a dead river, highlighting the scale of environmental damage. Experts explain that the destruction was not caused by heavy rain alone. Deforestation upstream had weakened the natural environment, allowing rainwater to flow rapidly into rivers and create more destructive floods. This disaster shows how environmental issues such as climate change, deforestation, and extreme weather are becoming major challenges for Indonesia's future development. In conclusion, Indonesia is a country of remarkable scale, diversity, and potential. As the world's largest archipelago and one of the most populous nations, it plays an increasingly important role in Southeast Asia and global affairs. With a young population, a growing economy, and ambitious development projects, Indonesia is continuing to transform and shape its future on the global stage.
Au yang mana lolo banda, au wasoda, elelelelele, iya au tatau, mana lolo banda, au vali dudua, ledo atenaso.